Hey everyone, in this video we're going to talk about optimizing sleep. I'm going to cover at least 9 different things you can do to improve your sleep, and in this part 1 we're going to focus on lifestyle adaptations, where there will also be a part 2 where we focus on nutrition and supplementation for sleep. So why do you want to optimize sleep? Well, as soon as you go below about 7 hours of sleep a night, or when your sleep quality is just really bad, basically all different aspects of your health will suffer, whether it's immune health, whether it's your chance of developing some sort of terrible chronic disease. Your hormone levels, such as testosterone, will drop. You will have less ability to think, and your memory will be impaired, so you will definitely be less productive in learning if you're studying, or you'll be less productive in doing your work, whatever your work is. Of course, it will impact your workout performance, and it will also impact your recovery. So your recovery will be less, and you will have less muscle building, or less recovery in general, which can also mean that you're not healing enough and you develop some injuries over time, like joint issues or things like that. All in all, I'm not going to go too deep into the problems you will get when you neglect sleep, but sleep is just essential, and still a lot of people are neglecting it. But some people also just have difficulties getting good sleep, or they don't really know how to optimize their sleep. So it's really beneficial just to cover these 9 different points that I have here in this little presentation, so you can really optimize your sleep and get all those great benefits. Alright, the first thing to cover is really how long should we be sleeping, the duration. And the general recommendation is 7 to 9 hours. Now, you might be thinking, should I sleep more than 9 hours? Is that more beneficial? And generally it is thought that it is not more beneficial to actually sleep longer than 9 hours. But we also know for sure that below 7, you're definitely going to see some signs of sleep deprivation. In fact, I really think 7 is already quite on the edge. You're better off shooting for 8 hours of sleep. Now, the timing is also very important because of something that's called the circadian rhythm, which is our biological clock. There's a part in the brain that sort of regulates a lot of systems in our body, and it works on a clock, which is roughly 24 hours. And based on the time that this clock thinks it will release certain hormones in your body. And one of those hormones is melatonin. And melatonin will make you feel sleepy, or it sort of prepares your body to fall asleep, which can make it easier for you to fall asleep. And also it can improve your sleep quality. Now, if we sleep at a different time every day, this biological clock, this piece of your brain, is really confused, and the timing of the release of the hormone melatonin will be completely at the wrong time, or it will just be confused. It will be chaotic. So in order to really improve our sleep quality, it is really important to sleep at the same time every day, and that way the hormones that are produced by your brain are really gonna help you to get that better quality sleep and to fall asleep faster. The third thing that is really important is environment, and that really entails 2 things here. Firstly is the temperature in your room, because it was actually found that sleep quality is better when the room is cooler. And that might have to do with the fact that the body temperature drops during sleep. And if you help your body sort of a little cooling down when you're going to sleep, it sort of pushes your body in the right direction, and it might make it easier to sleep that way. The second thing is light. So you really want your room to be as dark as possible, because light exposure decreases the amount of melatonin that is made in your body. So we want the amount of melatonin to be optimal, so it can help us fall asleep. And the more light there is, the less melatonin. So we really want it to be pitch black in a room and a little bit colder. Now we just touched upon light exposure already, but there's much more to light exposure. Now we already just touched upon now we just touched on light exposure already, but we should now we just briefly touched on light exposure already, but that was only light exposure in the bedroom. What we should also consider is our light exposure after sunset, because you can imagine that back in the days when there was no electricity, when the sunset was there and the world was dark, there was very little light exposure, perhaps from a little bit of fire here and there, and our body started naturally producing melatonin and we would go asleep. But these days we have electricity, we have screens, and after sunset we expose ourselves to a lot of bright screens, and as a result it confuses our brain, because it gets those light signals and doesn't realize that it might be past sunset already. So it does not start creating those melatonin hormones in your brain, and therefore it might be more difficult for you to fall asleep or to get good quality sleep. And the worst type of light in this situation that disturbs the production of melatonin the most is blue light. So what you should do to optimize sleep is limit your overall light exposure as far as that is possible. But if you are still in need to use screens after sunset because you need to do work or for other reasons, there are two things you can do, which is you can install a filter on your screens to reduce the blue light and make the screen look more like a red light, which is less damaging for your melatonin production. Or you could wear blue blocking glasses, which will also have a similar effect, blocking the blue light, which is really the most damaging light for your melatonin production and your sleep. The next is stimulation, and in order to get the best quality sleep, we should really avoid most types of stimulation. The obvious ones, of course, being alcohol and drugs, but nicotine from smoking will actually also interfere with your sleep quality. Then, of course, there is caffeine. Now, caffeine it takes a long time for caffeine to be dealt with in your body. After you had a cup of coffee, it can take 5 to 8 hours for the caffeine to decrease by about 50%. So that means that if you drink caffeine around noontime, it can still be in your blood around the time you go to sleep. And caffeine can definitely interfere with your ability to fall asleep and your sleep quality. So that's really something to think about. Personally, I do not try to drink any coffee after noontime to prevent it from interfering with my sleep. The third thing is relaxation. Now, in order to prepare our bodies for sleep, to really become sleepy, there's a number of things you can do to relax. One of them could be doing some stretching to decrease the tension in our muscles. Another one would be taking a warm shower or bath. This also tends to release the tension in our muscles. And interestingly enough, a lot of people think that a warm shower warms you up, but actually it improves your body's ability to cool down. So once you get out of a warm shower, you will cool down faster, and this is beneficial for sleep because, like I told you earlier, during sleep your body temperature will drop, and if you sleep in a cool room or if you sort of help your body cool down, this can help with your sleep quality. So those are some things you can do for relaxation. Other things you can think of is some people like to listen to things like sounds of nature, maybe the sound of the sea or the sound of a river or the sound of birds. Those are sort of soundtracks especially designed for sleep that you can find on YouTube. So that can also definitely be something worth checking out. Clearing your mind is also very useful if you want to improve your sleep. A lot of times the reason people cannot fall asleep, or they have or they wake up maybe in the night, is because they are thinking. They're overthinking, they have a lot of thoughts. They might be thinking about the next day, or there are some issues in their mind. So the easiest way to clear your mind is actually to grab a piece of paper before you go to sleep and to write everything down. Anything you think you should remember for the next day, just to write it down. You can even write a little to-do list or schedule for the next day. You can write down your worries, and because you wrote it down, it really allows your mind to calm down, because it realizes that, okay, it is written on a paper, so it's not going to be forgotten if I just let it go of it now. And from my experience, this really helps preparing for sleep also. So when you're in bed, you don't have to worry about all those things anymore. You can just look at it the day afterwards. Now, one of the things you can do when you can't sleep is actually just reading a book. And the reason I mentioned this is because a lot of people, when they cannot sleep, they take out their phone, which is a huge mistake, because the phone emits this blue light that is going to disrupt your melatonin production. It's going to trick your brain, telling you that it is not night, and it's going to make it increasingly more difficult for you to fall asleep. Moreover, a lot of the things you can see on screen can actually be stimulating. They can stir up emotions, not the sort of thing you want. Instead, it's probably way more effective to just grab a book and try to read a couple of pages. And when you do that, I'm pretty sure you will get sleepy again very soon. You can also use the same trick when you wake up in the middle of the night. Instead of tossing and turning, or instead of looking at your phone, just grab a book, read a couple of pages, and I guarantee that will make you feel sleepy again. Now, the final point that you should really consider is simply upgrading your bed. And there's a number of ways you can do that. You can, of course, upgrade your mattress, upgrade your pillows, the covers you sleep under, and you can really think about all the ways you can upgrade that. For example, the materials you use. Every material has a very different feel on your skin, and it gives off different sort of temperature. Some materials are cooler, some materials are warmer, some covers will fall really heavy on you, and some will feel very light. And of course, it also has to do with your posture. Some of the pillows really support your neck in a particular way, or mattresses that support your curve of your back, so you wake up feeling restored instead of maybe having some muscle pains. So these are really just the 9 things that you can do lifestyle wise to optimize your sleep. In the next video, I will talk about nutrition and supplements that you can use to optimize your sleep. If you think I missed anything, or if you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments. Please like and subscribe if you want to see part 2 of this series. And thank you for watching. Bye bye. Also, I have a free guide on improving your sleep that you can download using the link in the description, where I will list all of the things I mentioned in this video and more in much detail, so you can just look back at them, have an easy overview of the things you can do to really upgrade your sleep. So if you think that's interesting, use the link in my description, and I really hope it will help you get some better sleep. Alright, bye bye.